Hey, brother, do you ever get concerned that you are climbing a ladder that's against the wrong wall, or that you're heading down a path that's taking you ultimately where you don't want to be? I think about this all the time because every week I get to hear stories or meet with good men who, with the best of intentions, are going along through life and realizing that the things they're doing day in and day out, week in and week out, year in and year out, aren't bringing them what it is they really want in life. And maybe they just kind of slipped into societal scripts that tell you that this is what you should do, and this is what is a happy life. And they give you, in this case, in this country, they give you the American dream, but it's not necessarily your dream. And it's got some bits and pieces, but somehow you still feel empty. And you just get this sense that you're going the wrong direction. Now, I've tragically met men who went their whole life, spent an entire career going down the wrong path, only to get down there and realize that they'd wasted their life. And like Tolstoy's character, Ivan Ilyich, or however you pronounce that in Russian, he gets to the end of his life, he's on early deathbed, and he screams out in agony, "What if my whole life has been wrong?" Because he was chasing what society was telling him was important and what society was telling him he should care about, but it wasn't the things he cared about. And so I wanted to ask you and go through this journey that I went through, like asking myself constantly, like, is this the work I want to do? Is this how I want to spend my time? And time is life. Is this how I want to spend my life? Am I getting the things that I really want? And yeah, we can have nice things and we can do cool stuff and we can really succeed in business. But at the end of the day, how's your relationship with you? Are you comfortable in your own skin? In other words, are you comfortable and okay with who you are and who you're becoming? Do you have a good relationship with your spirit or your soul and with God? Do you have a fantastic marriage that's thriving and alive? Is it passionate and romantic? Are you best friends? Can you just talk about almost anything with your spouse? Are you guys doing incredible things together? Are you living the life you dreamed of? What about with each of your children? Do you have a really great relationship? Are you investing in that relationship? Do you love spending time with them? Do they love spending time with you? Are you creating memories and building the family legacy that you want? What about your work? What about your impact and influence? Are you becoming a great force for good in the world? Are you a master of your craft? Are you really good at what you want to do? Or like many good men, got into a career and man, you don't love it. And you constantly find yourself, can't wait for the weekend and can't wait for retirement. You just want to put an end to the misery. And some of you are even in some kind of position that's soul sucking. So the key to living an absolutely extraordinary life, a life that you don't later regret, is first to get a crystal clear vision of who you want to be and how you want to live life. So I want to invite you to spend some time writing. I did this. In fact, I did it often. And I started when I was 16. I was out on my own. A family had fallen apart, broken family, just totally broke. I left home at 16, living in a bad neighborhood, just trying to survive, at the bottom, just like, how do I figure this out? And desperately wanted to get the answers, the secrets to success. If it was possible, I was going to figure out how to do it. And so I spent time, I started writing at 16. I kept writing, kept experimenting, kept evaluating, kept reading biographies and autobiographies and interviewing people and noticing and observing like what works, what doesn't. And I wrote about it often. And yeah, I had some jobs I hated. I started some careers I did not want to be in. And when I got down that path and realized that wasn't who I wanted to be or where I wanted to go, I stopped. And so I want to invite you to write about that. Write about what it is you want to master. If you could just be world-class, extraordinarily awesome at something, what would it be? Write about that and why. Write about the caliber of man you want to be. What kind of man you want to be? Who do you want to become? How do you want to be remembered now? What kind of reputation and legacy do you want to build? How do you want to feel about who you are later in life? How do you want your children and your wife and others you interact with to remember you, the people who work for you, the people you work with? How do you want them to remember you, your customers or clients, your patients? You're establishing a reputation. Get clear about that. Write down what really, truly matters to you, not what maybe society says or we see the billboards and the songs and the commercials and the movies and this is what's cool and this is what's awesome, and you hear everybody in their scripts about do this and you'll be happy and successful, and this is what it means to be successful and to achieve in our society. But what is it you really want? What is it that fills your soul and is meaningful and fulfilling? What is it that matters most to you? For the vast majority of men, it comes back to inner peace, liking yourself. And gentlemen, it is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to like yourself when you're doing unlikable things. Right? We just can't do that. This is that incongruence doesn't line up. So if I'm doing unlikable things, I'm going to have a really hard time liking myself. What's also true for men is that if we're living below our potential, if I know this is what I'm capable of and I'm doing this, I don't like myself. It tears me up, rips up my self-esteem and my confidence. So for most men, like I was saying, it's like this peace, being okay with who you're becoming and this journey you're on. It's relationships. Are you actually spending quality time with your wife? Is your marriage getting better every year? Are you deeply connected with your kids? Do you have tons of influence with them? Do they love and respect you? Do they want your advice and counsel? Do they want to spend time with you? Yes, even your teens and young adults. In fact, especially them. But the key to that is you have to keep leveling up. You and I, we have to keep rising in an appropriate way in order to keep earning the respect and admiration and influence, our ability to influence our teenagers and young adults. And your spiritual self, your soul, how's that? So walk through these things that really matter. And at the end of the day, usually men are saying, look, I want more time. I want less stress, right? Less worry. I want to have fun and provide fun. I want to have impact and contribution and influence. I want to be a great force for good in the world, right? Think through carefully what it is you want. So get this vision. Please do this. Grab your journal, write in your journal, right? I got multiple leather journals in here. I write on my phone in the notes. I write on my computer in the documents. I have journals I write in, constantly thinking about this, constantly reevaluating. What is it that matters most? And here's what's most important. If you do identify that, which very few people have done the mental and emotional, spiritual work to dig through, like, what is it I really, truly, deeply want? Because it gets confusing in there. You think, well, yeah, I want the fancy, nice things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want all these cool experiences, and I want respect, and I want a reputation. I want success. Great, fantastic. But is the pursuit of that costing you what it is you deeply, deeply want? And getting clear about where that line is and what's the underlying cause. Sometimes you and I were operating from this past, right? Things that we picked up along the past, people, experiences we had, or things people said, or failures, or whatever, and we just hold on to it, and we're making decisions from way back then. And so we have to get clear about this vision. So spend time writing about that. Get clear, and then ask the honest but difficult question: do my actions align with my desires? Are the things I'm doing most of the time in alignment with what I say I want most? Then take that, get it into a calendar and a schedule, and then honor the schedule. This is literally why I created the Be the Man Masterclass and Tribe, because I wanted to help good men have a community of other good men with clarity and vision about where we're going, why we're going there, and how to execute it. Because we can get going, right, and then fall. That happened to me. I got clear about, okay, this is who I want to be, this is how I want to go, and I get going there, and then you get distracted or off track by either tough circumstances or situations, or shiny objects like, ooh, I could take this job and career because it's so lucrative, or, oh man, what about this opportunity over here? And I would get off course. And then I find, in fact, like an airplane or a rocket, most of the time they're off course. Even a sailboat, it's tacking, right? It's never exactly on course. They're constantly just correcting, making tiny corrections to stay on course. The same is true for our lives. It's easy to get off course. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to let off on the drive or drive too much. Some of you are going too hard, too far. Some of you aren't going enough. And so to find that balance and get in there where you just course correct and you get back on the path where you want to be, and then get that alignment. And so I wanted to provide the tools and the tactics and the training and the team, a tribe of men, to make sure that we're all together saying, hey, let's figure out what it is that absolutely matters most to us. And it's going to look a little different for all of us. It's going to be unique. Every one of our lives, our dreams, our plans, our goals are going to be a little different. And that's fantastic. That's what makes the world amazing. But there's going to be some common denominators. And so my invitation to you, brother, is to put in the time and effort to write and think on this and ask constantly, revisit it. Talk to your spouse about it. Talk to your kids about it. Talk to mentors you trust about it. If you need to or want to, get personal one-on-one coaching. I love the one-on-one coaching I get to do, because we get to do a deep dive into every aspect of your life, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, financial, the whole picture, and get clear about what it is you want, and then check up, right? Set up the accountability systems and just go through, like, create your vision, get it in writing, revisit it, reread it, rewrite it, put pictures up, vision boards, whatever. I've got mine right here behind the camera is my vision board. I've got what I call my philosophy journal right here in my desk drawer, where I can revisit the constitution for my life, and I'm revisiting them. So I'm staying on path. I'm rechecking constantly, like, how am I doing? Right? It's like checking your pulse or getting a medical checkup or a visual checkup. Like, how am I doing? And then follow through on that to execute and make it extraordinary. So if you find yourself, and just have this honest moment right now, like, wow, man, where am I at? Go through each part of your life. How's your health? Are you where you want to be? How's your mind? Are you where you want to be? How is your emotional state? Are you where you want to be? And at least going in the right direction. How's your spiritual state? How's your spirit, your soul? Are you where you want to be? How's your financial state? Are you where you want to be? How's your social state? Are you where you want to be? And you can go through each of those areas and just get really clear. It's it can be humbling. It can be frustrating. It can be painful, but it's also exciting and exhilarating and inspiring to get this vision of what you're capable of becoming, and who you're capable of being, and what you're capable of achieving and accomplishing, and having this balance, right? And ideally, gentlemen, I think you're going to get to a spot where for work, and you can have all the abundance in your life you want, but your work, shooting for maybe 25 to 30 hours a week of work. I know that sounds like crazy talk, right? But that's about where we ought to be. And it can still be super lucrative and effective and productive, but bring it way back so that you have plenty of time and resources to spend on your own health and well-being, your marriage, your parenting, and your leadership and impact in your community and the world. And set some targets like that, and then figure out how to do it. And that's what the BMA Masterclass is for, is all those tactics and strategies and proven principles and practices to make that happen. So my invitation, brother, is put in the time and effort to get that vision crystal clear. If you've done something like this before, revisit it, edit it, add to it, take away, do whatever you got to do, get it nailed. If you've never done it, put in the work, man. Sit down, get your journal out, get the pen and paper, and just go get it all out and talk through it, think through it, read from the great books of all time, the greatest thinkers, and measure what you write down to what is out there and what's been out there, the greatest leaders and teachers of all time. And do not, gentlemen, do not take advice from anyone whose life you do not want to have. If you don't admire that person in their whole life enough that you want that, then be careful. We often end up taking advice from people who do not have the life we want, and we got to be careful to do that. So as you're thinking about that and examining those things, take that into consideration, get that on paper, reach out to me, share it with me, reach out on social media, reach out, shoot me an email, like share it with me, and the pieces and parts of your vision as this comes out. This will be an awesome experience, and share it with your spouse, share it with your kids, share it with your friends. And you know what? Honestly, some of them are going to give you some kickback. Some of your family and friends, oh, you're crazy. What's wrong with you? When we started our journey, we got really clear. We wanted to do life unconventionally. We want to travel extensively all over this planet with our kids, and we have, and we still are. And some people thought we were insane, that we were ruining our kids' lives. We wanted to be in charge of their education, to do homeschooling and what we call world schooling. And people thought we were crazy, that we were just mad. How could we even think that? And so there was a lot of kickback. There were a lot of people saying we were crazy. And so actually it was a blessing, because it forced us to really dig deep. Like, okay, are we crazy? Or did we really think through this and get solid about what it is we wanted? And when it was attacked, it made it even stronger, right? And some of the things they brought in, like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And we changed, we shifted. But get really clear about what it is you want, and then align your life to that. And if I can help, let me know how I can help. But I wholeheartedly believe, brother, we can all live extraordinary lives, and they'll all look different, but they can all be fulfilling and meaningful and extraordinary for each of us and for our families. So do this exercise, then figure out what you got to do next and make it happen. Be the man.